pictures. Words and pictures. That bit round there. So, Michael, you don't think I should have painted my goldfish green?
No, I don't think so.
Hello, I'm Stuart. Not now, Nutmeg. We've been talking about our pets, drawing pictures of them. This is a picture of my pet fish. I expect some of you have got pets too. Oh, all right. This is Nutmeg. She's definitely not my pet cat.
Meow.
Well, she's more of a friend, really. She just turned up one day. Goodness knows where from. Outer space, I think, sometimes. Anyway, she's been following me around ever since.
Meow.
She's very curious, interested in everything, but I don't think she's been out and about much. So I've been taking her out to see things. Well, last week, we went to visit a pet shop. Nutmeg was in such a hurry, she rushed in before me. She wanted to see the puppies. Visiting a pet shop can be great fun, even if you haven't got a pet. There's lots of things to look at. In this shop, there are fish, a bit like my pet fish at home, and rabbits. Some of you have probably got pet rabbits. But I wonder if any of you have got one of these. It's a snake. Whatever pet you have, you need to know about it and how to look after it properly. In this shop, they spend a lot of time every day preparing the food and feeding the animals. The puppies certainly know when it's time for their food. Now, while I was watching the puppies being fed, Nutmeg had wandered off to have a look at some of the other animals. Nutmeg, you found some friends? Lovely, aren't they? Kittens are the same colour as you, nearly. Coming to see you. Have you looked under here? Look, these little things here are called chipmunks. They move really quickly, don't they?
Meow.
Well, I'd have liked to have spent more time watching the chipmunks, but Nutmeg had spotted the budgies. She seemed far too interested in those for my liking. Nutmeg, you shouldn't be here. There's some creatures that don't mix together, and cats and birds do not mix. Come on, this way. Cats and fish don't mix either, but Nutmeg had managed to find out where the fish were kept.
Meow.
She seemed very interested in those as well.
Meow.
But the last animal we found was the one we both liked the best.
This is Charles, the macaw.
He's lovely, isn't he?
He's beautiful.
Is he for sale here?
Oh, no. No, he's our shop pet. He stays here.
So people just come in and admire him?
He has his own fan club, yes. Hello, Parrot.
Hello.
Well, Charles is quite an unusual pet, but all pets need looking after. Like the puppies we saw earlier. They need feeding, watering, grooming, and taking for walks.
Hello.
Hello. We found a story about a dog who lives in a pet shop, but he really wants a home. His name's Arthur. Arthur was a very ordinary dog. He lived in Mrs. Humber's pet shop with many other animals. He was just an ordinary brown dog who dearly wanted a home with a pair of old slippers to chew. On Monday morning, Mrs. Humber put some rabbits in the window. By the end of the day, the window was empty, except for Arthur. Nobody wanted an ordinary brown dog. Everybody wanted rabbits. So that night, when all was quiet, Arthur practiced being a rabbit. He practiced eating carrots and poking out his front teeth and making his ears stand up straight. He practiced very hard until he was sure he could be a rabbit. The next morning, Mrs. Humber put some snakes in the window. By the end of the day, the window was empty, except for Arthur. Nobody wanted an ordinary brown dog, not even one who acted like a rabbit. Everybody wanted snakes. So that night, when all was quiet, Arthur practiced being a snake. He practiced hissing and slithering and sliding and looking cool. He practiced very hard until he was sure he could be a snake. Next morning, Mrs. Humber put some fish in the window. By the end of the day, the window was empty, except for Arthur. Nobody wanted an ordinary brown dog, not even one who acted like a rabbit and a snake. Everybody wanted fish. So that night, when all was quiet, Arthur practiced being a fish. He practiced swimming and blowing bubbles and breathing underwater. He practiced very hard until he was sure he could be a fish. Next morning, Mrs. Humber put the rest of her pets in the window. There were 2 hamsters, a cage of mice, 3 canaries, a blue budgerigar, a green frog, 1 sleepy lizard, and Arthur. Arthur jumped on Lilypants, squeaked and nibbled cheese, purred, croaked, and even attempted to fly. By the end of the day, the window was empty, except for Arthur. He had collapsed, exhausted, in the corner of the window. Now he was certain he would never find a home, whether he was a rabbit, a snake, a fish, a cat, or a purple spotty 3-headed wombat. Arthur decided that he might as well be just an ordinary brown dog. Late that afternoon, just before Mrs. Humber was to close the shop, a man came in with his granddaughter. "Excuse me," said the man, "Melanie tells me you have rather an extraordinary dog who performs all sorts of tricks." "Well, the only dog I have," replied Mrs. Humber, "is Arthur." "Oh, there he is, Grandpa, in the window," said Melanie. She rushed to pick up Arthur, who gave her the biggest, wettest, doggiest lick ever. Arthur knew he had found a home with a pair of old slippers to chew. Here's another dog. A dancing dog.
Meow!
Dancing dog. Dancing dog. Dirty dog.
Dancing dog. Have you noticed? Both those words begin with the same letter. Let's see how Magic Pencil writes it. All the way round, up and down and kick. All the way round, up and down and kick, all the way round. Up and down and kick, all the way round. Up and down and kick, all the way round. Up and down and kick, all the way round. Up and down and kick, all the way round. Up and down and kick, all the way round. Up and down and kick. Well, you look like you're enjoying reading that, Nutmeg.
Meow.
And have a look.
Meow.
Harry McClary from Donaldson's Dairy. Out of the gate and off for a walk went Harry McClary from Donaldson's Dairy. And Hercules Morse, as big as a horse, with Harry McClary from Donaldson's Dairy. Bottomley pots covered in spots, Hercules Morse, as big as a horse, and Harry McClary from Donaldson's Dairy. Muffin Maclay, like a bundle of hay, Bottomley pots covered in spots, Hercules Morse, as big as a horse, and Harry McClary from Donaldson's Dairy. Bitzer Maloney, all skinny and bony, Muffin Maclay, like a bundle of hay, Bottomley pots covered in spots, Hercules Morse, as big as a horse, and Harry McClary from Donaldson's Dairy. Schnitzel von Krumm, with a very low tum, Bitzer Maloney, all skinny and bony, Muffin Maclay, like a bundle of hay, Bottomley pots covered in spots, Hercules Morse, as big as a horse, and Harry McClary from Donaldson's Dairy. With tails in the air, they trotted on down, past the shops and the park, to the far end of town. They sniffed at the smells, and they snooped at each door, when suddenly, out of the shadows they saw Scarface Claw, the toughest Tom in town. Said Scarface Claw. Off with a yowl, a wail and a howl, a scatter of paws and a clatter of claws, went Schnitzel von Krumm with a very low tum, Bitzer Maloney, all skinny and bony, Muffin Maclay, like a bundle of hay, Bottomley pots covered in spots, Hercules Morse, as big as a horse, and Harry McClary from Donaldson's Dairy. Straight back home to bed.
If you'd like an order form for the notes that accompany this series, then please ring BBC Education Information on 081 746 1111.